In this video, we're going to talk about failure. It's a word that nobody enjoys hearing, and for sure very few people enjoy experiencing. That's because most people view failure as a destination and not as part of a journey to get somewhere amazing. So in this video, we're going to talk about ways in which we can understand our own failures, learn from the failures of others, and develop a certain sense of resilience, perseverance, and risk-taking that will allow us to not be prevented from doing amazing things because of our fear of potentially failing. So stick with me, and we're going to talk more about failure today. I just want to thank everybody who's watched the videos up until now. On YouTube, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, there's a great community of interaction and conversation with me, whether it's in DM, email, comments, where you're sharing your thoughts and you are contributing to a greater product that the Educated by Design project is trying to achieve. Hey everybody, this is Michael Cohen, the Tech Rabbi, and welcome to the Educated by Design vlog, episode number. Today we're going to talk about failure, this big overwhelming word that strikes fear in the heart of people, but it's not that bad. And the reason why it's not that bad is because what we need to do is we need to understand failure on a macro and not failure on a micro. You see, in your K-20 experience, you're taught that failure is a moment in time that is a failed math test, a failed history course, and a failed attempt at achieving academic success. And then we attribute the failure not to the process, but to ourselves. And that is wrong. What we need to be able to do is we need to be able to understand failure on the macro level. And that doesn't mean we should be okay or be looking to fail at the micro, because you have to be honest with yourself, and that requires a certain level of reflection. If you're failing a math test, why did you fail it? That reflection piece is going to allow you to succeed later on. The challenge is that we don't have opportunities to A, reflect, and B, try again in our education experience, our journey of education. But what we can do is that we can develop certain levels of understanding and awareness of failure that will allow us to be stronger people, to succeed in that academic space, but also succeed in the space of reality beyond our academic experience. You can call it the real world, but to say that students today don't live in a real world is just not true. So what we need to do is we need to go on a journey with our students to help them build out a certain level of resilience, risk-taking, and perseverance when we look at what failure is preventing us from doing, which is doing awesome work. That our fear of failure is actually an obstacle for us to do things that are above and beyond what we even think is possible for us to achieve. So the first thing that you need to do is you need to get a little bit of context and reference point for failure. And the easiest way to do that is to find people that are truly amazing and learn about their failures and learn about how they overcame their failures, and then you'll start to see that what made them successful is their determination and their willingness to try the impossible and fail in a short term for a long-term significant result. Because the statistics say that 80% of people stop after the second try. So all you need to do is stick it in for 3 tries, right? But it's not so simple. We're overwhelmed. We are emotionally invested in our failure to the point where the failure becomes us. We become the failure, and then we stop. So the first thing is look up people. Look up those Oprah Winfreys, those Elon Musks, those Steve Jobs, and learn about them. That should be an assignment in your class, that they should embark on a research project and a writing experience or creating some sort of multimedia artifact presentation where they have figured out somebody that inspires them and learned about their failures. I guarantee you there's more than one. If you can give people a reference point for people who have succeeded when failure was a reality for them, or failure was a challenge, an obstacle for success, that is the first step. The second step is engaging students in activities where failure is part of the process and not the destination. So we need to engage in experiences in our classroom. So what do I propose? Let's play it safe. Can you sacrifice 1 week of an entire school year? Let's say you wait till spring. I think for spring you still have time because we're filming this in the fall, winter, right? Dedicate an entire week to a experimentation, passion project, hackathon, whatever you want to call it, where students have to try to figure out how to create something, perform a task, whatever it is, and then they need to create a presentation around the entire process, including the role of failure. That is a very concrete learning experience in which students can embark on in a classroom setting with their peers, with you as a mentor, to be able to give them the strength and the experience, the work experience, in how failure was a clear point along this journey of success. Number 3 is connect with people, right? Having conversations around failure, having the students discuss their failure. Not comfortable with that? Not comfortable with you discussing your own failure? What about connecting with people via Google Hangout, via Skype, finding somebody in the community of your school that's a successful business person, a successful scientist, an engineer, somebody who can talk about their journey. It's different than the first option because the first option is this 1% individual. There's only 10 or 20 of them in a century of just absolutely genius minds. But there's still genius minds that exist in the day-to-day, the everyday, and connecting with somebody who is part of your school community, who can share experiences where they set out to do something amazing and they failed as a process, can also get the students to be proud of their failures, right? Because that's what we're looking at. We're looking at students having a sense of pride that the failures are part of them growing. Number 4 is a fail board. And I didn't invent this. I've seen this in a couple different spaces, but I think it's really interesting. A board in which people anonymously put their failure as the year progresses. If you can create some sort of space where maybe they're put in a box and then you take them out and you put them on the board. And then you have conversations about them and you help people work through their failures in an anonymous, communal way that's supportive. We're all supportive of each other's failures. The anonymous piece is going to allow honest feedback and hopefully a safe kind of space for students to feel like they can communicate and share. You want to have that level of comfort and confidence in your classroom, just period. But in this case, you really want this to be a space in which students can give productive and honest and valuable feedback to the students. And then the students can be taking notes, they can be jotting down ideas, and you can also cross-correlate different failures on the board with others so that you can see that there's a lot of connection in the solutions that we employ or the advice that we give around the failures that take place. So those are the first 4. The 5th one is something that I think is really important, but it's not for everyone. And that's that you have to celebrate your own failures. You set up a classroom in which students are meant to succeed, and when they don't succeed, that's a failure. They're a failure. You need to create an environment for your students where they understand that we're all human, we're all growing, and that we're all capable of making mistakes and not succeeding. But what do we do to overcome that is what the key ingredient is. And if you're asking them to embrace failure and them to grow and understand this failure as a process, you have to be part of that as well. But that's not for everybody, because I know a lot of educators are very uncomfortable with students knowing too much about their personal life. I don't think you need to share with them everything in your personal life, but I think sharing your failures is going to create a community of risk-taking, a community of perseverance, and of resilience that is going to be super powerful long-term. So those are the 5 ways that I feel right now you could start in your classroom, in your boardrooms, having conversations around failure as a midpoint in a successful, awesome journey of doing something great. So thank you for watching. Please subscribe to this video. Please like and share this video out, and let's keep the conversation going.